Hello, this is Luke, and I'm doing my reflection for my video on Module 8, Unit 5, Activity 1, which is my Standards 4 and 5 teaching video. So my questions, number 1, what I learned from my teaching practice by watching my video. I learned that I'm a very analytical teacher. I like to teach everything and hope that I can instill some new knowledge on my students. So I often have a tendency to probably maybe overteach. I like to do a lot of information dumps periodically. I know I've cut back on that in recent times, but that's something I enjoy doing. So with this lesson, I know I did a lot of teacher talk, but since the students didn't learn about spelling rules of adding es to plurals, I felt like I had to teach them that part. So that's partly why it was so teacher heavy, just because the students didn't know about that. Number 2, reflect on how each element of the lesson went and what you would do to change the lesson, if anything, if you're able to teach this lesson again. I think everything went quite smoothly. The plurals honestly took a little longer than I expected. I probably should have cut out some of the morning songs, or at least sped them up to create a little bit more time. And I did feel a little rushed. And the students were asking me questions, but like about 90% of those questions were not related to the lesson. So there were a lot of interruptions in that regard. But if the questions were related to the lesson, things probably would have been a lot smoother and a lot faster. If I were to teach this lesson again, I would have maybe not done irregular plurals, but I would have gone to countable and uncountable nouns instead. Including, I would have kept with the es ending, but I also would have taught, because in the workbook or in the course book, they had sheep, and so it was 1 sheep, 2 sheep. So instead of doing irregular, I should have done more like the uncountable in that regard. And then that also probably would not have taken up so much time, and so then they would have had more time to completing the activity. Number 3, include both what you did well and what needs improvement. What went well is that we got pretty much everything done. The students already knew about plurals and what they are, so I was just adding another level to what they already knew. And so they understand the concept of more than one. And so just adding the next layer to that. And I think they caught the concept pretty well, and they caught the idea of when to add es versus when to just keep it just a s for regular plurals. The irregular plurals were definitely harder to teach. Since there aren't any rules there aren't any consistent patterns, and so the students just have to do the work of memorizing it for themselves. What to improve upon? This was not my first time teaching this lesson. I have been teaching this lesson off and on for about 4 or 5, or if not longer, years. Actually, no, probably closer to 8 years. And so compared to the very first time I taught this lesson, I've definitely streamlined it a lot. I've took out a lot of the garbage and just kept it nice and simplified. I also have used better examples of words that the students know, compared to some words that I would have to explain what those are. So if they know the words, then it's a lot easier. I don't have to, that's one less thing I have to do during the lesson. And number 4, if my video does not demonstrate each element of standards 4 and 5, how are those met? So I definitely did meet standard 4 with my knowledge on the topic, and I could have kept going on the topic. I could have gone deeper, but I had to limit myself in that regard. With standard 5, I would have liked to have done a different kind of worksheet. Instead of just having them draw a picture and write the words, I would have liked to have had the students, cut out some circles, fold them in half, and on the top part of it, they can write the singular noun, and then they open it up, and then inside there'd be a plural noun, and then they can glue it onto like a board, and then we can put it up on the wall so that all the people can look and flip it up and whatnot. I think that probably also would have been a lot more beneficial for the students and a lot more fun. And then everyone will be able to see them, and they can learn from them periodically. And so that is my reflection on the video.